Hi, everyone. John Michael Coppola here, and welcome to the Chicago Theater Makers Podcast, where we chat with the actors, directors, choreographers, designers, producers, music directors, lyricists, playwrights, and all the artists who make the Chicago area theaters come alive. We're so excited to have you here with us today. But before we get started, we just want to remind you to please like, subscribe to, and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues who you think would appreciate the conversations we're having. We'd be so grateful for your support in this way so we can continue to bring these stories for years to come. Thanks again for being here, and now, curtain up on today's episode. We're fortunate today to have two guests on the show, one the director of and one a cast member of Four Chairs Theater's production of Four Places. Director Lauren Berman founded Four Chairs Theater in 2018. Since the company's creation, she has directed several cabarets, as well as the musicals Ride the Cyclone, Be More Chill, Spring Awakening, and their current production of the play Four Places. She also directed What the Constitution Means to Me at Paramount Theater's Bold Series and is an acting coach for actors of all ages and abilities. Actress Andrea Uppling's recent Chicago credits include What the Constitution Means to Me, A Streetcar Named Desire, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and Girls and Boys. Four Places opens October 16th and runs through November 2nd at the Bramble Arts Loft. For tickets, please visit fourchairstheater.org, the link for which you can find in our show notes. Now let's go to the top of the show. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Andy. How are you both doing?
Great, John.
Oh, thank you so much for being
How about
here.
You?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah. Super busy time of year for me, but you know what? I'd rather be busy than lying around twiddling my thumbs. So, yeah. Appreciate you both being here. As is our custom here, I always like to start the podcast off the same way, and that is to ask our guests, please tell our listeners a little bit about where you grew up, a little bit about your background, your training, but most importantly, your first theater experience. And why don't we go alphabetically? So, Andy, you can go first.
Okay, thank you. Great. Oh my goodness. I was obsessed with Grease when I was 3 years old, and I thought that acting was dancing and singing, and it so I pursued those two things. And this was in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and so I didn't have a lot of exposure to theater at that time, and but then I was in a play in my 8th grade year, and they cast me as the funny librarian, and I couldn't believe the excitement of those laughs, and that donning a character, could elicit that. And so I was like, oh, it's acting. Everything I'm watching and doing at home is acting. So but then my parents got divorced, and we moved to Alexandria, Virginia, right outside of DC. So that was really very influential. I mean, they would take us to the Kennedy Center all the time. We performed at the Folger Shakespeare Theater as high school students and such. So that was a huge influence for me. And did I answer the question?
Yeah, no, that's great. We can always pivot back to some of those points too as we go on. How about you, Lauren?
So my first role as an actor was in Carousel at Wilmette Community Theater, and my dad played Jigger, and I was one of the third youngest Snow kid, and then my brother, and then my sister. I still remember my choreography, just like from being around 6 or 7 years old, I think. And then directing wise, I used to gather all the neighborhood kids together and write a play and then put it on in my driveway. And then the light was the garage light. And then I would also follow my brother around the house, who would do a lot of impersonations. And I would kind of direct him to do different characters. so it started young. I got the bug young.
Yeah. I think a lot of young theater kids' stories began in their driveway, in their garages, putting down garage recitals. I know that my wife was doing that as well. She has a famous story of her with her little Mr. Microphone singing "Hopelessly Devoted to You" from Grease.
Yeah, there it is.
And while I am of small stature and quite mild-mannered looking, I played Jigger in a high school production of Carousel, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Look at that. It all comes together at some point, yeah.
It does.
So Lauren, you grew up here in Wilmette then, and you've been here?
Yes, I grew up in Wilmette, and then, got involved in theater in high school as much as I possibly could. And then I ended up going to UCLA. And then I went there for undergrad and then went on to grad school. and then stayed in LA for a while and did a lot of theater, a lot of TV. And then I think what brought me back to the Midwest was thinking about raising a family and would I want to be out in LA or where I grew up. So that was kind of a big decision for me.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, cost of living is a big reason why my family and I decided
Huge.
to stay here. Yeah, we were on the East Coast before we moved here, and after about a year in, we thought, you know what? All things being equal, let's just stick around. And we have been now here for 17 years, and we love it. Absolutely love it. We're up at Skokie.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
that's great.
Andy, how did you wind up here in Chicago?
Yeah. Well, after college, my first professional show was in Rockford, Illinois, at NAT, New American Theater, which is now closed, which I'm so sorry about. But an Equity Theater, and met my husband there. My first professional show, and we're both like, we don't date actors, and then fell in love, right? So we've got two actors trying to figure it out. So he grew up in Roselle. And is now a high school teacher there. He still has his equity status, but he teaches drama and English there. So, and I always wanted to actually end up in Chicago. I don't know why I didn't have an interest in New York. It was either LA or Chicago, and so came here and started our family and started the journey. So yeah,
that's wonderful. Well, I'm glad that you could make it back to Chicago, and then we can have you on the podcast as a result, because we try and keep it, try and shop local here on the podcast.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, you've got an extensive career as an actress and a director, of course. I'm curious what made you venture out and want to start your own theater company, start Four Chairs. Give us a little history behind the impetus to do that.
So I feel like, and I don't know if Andy could speak about this as well. It's like when you're, and probably you too, but when you're an artist, so much of your time is spent waiting and waiting for doors to open, waiting for opportunities, waiting for someone to give you a chance. And I feel like my whole life, I've kind of gone around that. Like, for example, when I was in LA and it was a dry period and I wasn't getting TV work or theater work, I wrote a play and I cast myself in it. So it's like that kind of thing. So I think the same kind of thing. I was directing, as you know, in a lot of different theaters, like freelancing. And then I also was working educationally in a high school, and just longed to have like the opportunity to create my own stories, and choose the shows that I wanted to do, and also collaborate with people that I wanted to collaborate with. So it came about when two former students I had worked with at Stevenson High School had graduated college, and they were on their way home for a summer, and they called me and they said, "Let's do a show." And I thought, well, what do you mean, let's do a show? They go, let's do a show. Well, we don't have the space. Well, let's get a space. Well, let's form a company. So that's what happened. We decided to do Spring Awakening. And we found a space above a restaurant in Highwood on the second floor. And this is where the name of my company is coming in. We walked in, it was just a bare floor, no seats or anything like that, no light grid, but there were 4 chairs. And I looked at them and I said, you know what? We're going to do Spring Awakening with 4 chairs. And we did. And so that's how it came about.
How amazing. What a great way to name your theater. Just the quick inspiration of the first thing you saw.
Yep. And then later I realized, like, title of show, the musical, has a line that says all you need to put on a show is 4 chairs. And I have 4 children, so kind of the 4 fit.
Yeah. It's funny, you mentioned, as artists, we can't sort of sit idle, and we always want to be creating something. You and I were talking before we went on air about our good buddy Jim Jarvis, and his episode's going to be launching in a couple weeks, and he and I had a whole conversation about how, I guess we didn't equate it with just sort of like an artist thing. It was sort of like a he and I thing, that we just sort of say, screw it and just do it and see how it sticks. He and I have sort of always lived our lives that way. But now that you mention it, it is inherent in artists and creative types to just sort of go that route and make our own work.
I could say right now, having worked with Andy, who's just a brilliant, brilliant actor and human, that, she should be working every minute of the day, every day of the year. And so why doesn't that always happen? Because, it's our business, and there's a lot of rejection and a lot of waiting and a lot of hoping.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just not fair.
I have to agree. Now, a couple of months ago, we had City of Lights Cabaret and Theater on, and they used cabarets when they were first starting out as a fundraising tool to fund what wound up being their first full production this past season, which was Pippin. I noticed that you have also done cabarets in the past with 4 Chairs. Do you find that as a viable way of fundraising for productions, or do you use that as a tool to fundraise other projects?
So I'm going to be very transparent. If this was an interview and you were to ask me, well, tell me some of your weaknesses, here's where it comes out. I am not great at fundraising or raising money for 4 Chairs or finding sponsors. I try really hard. Like I do Giving Tuesday. I do that. And I think I got $5. So I thought it was going to turn out to be that. And what it's turned out to be instead, which I hope it could grow to be a fundraiser perhaps, but I actually love the idea of putting on a cabaret too, because I love what I found is combining the real life stories and music together. And there's such a connection with an audience with the human element of real life stories that maybe they've lived or thought about or felt. And then you combine that with music, and it's grown, and I really love it. I love picking a theme and then working around that and find, like, for example, I did one with all real moms singing about being mothers and things like that.
Oh, how wonderful.
So I tried to bring in themes, or one was If Life Gives You Lemons, and it was 5 actors who dealt with, significant obstacles and how they rose above it. So I've developed a passion for that too. But yes, it's on my list to do a fundraiser for 4 Chairs Theater. Yes, I would love to become better at that part.
I mean, that's the hardest part for any organization. I hope you're not knocking yourself for not being versed in that, because that's not people's strength. I mean, we're creative types. We're not financial types all the time.
Right.
But, I'm glad to know that that's on your list of to-dos. And
it's on my list.
Great.
It's on my list.
Yeah. Now, Andy, I'd like to talk with you about, your background and some of the lessons you may have learned from being an artist, and even maybe just in life. What are some of the best lessons that you've learned, some of them that you may have wished you'd learned sooner?
Yes. Oh my goodness, so many. It really depends on what we talk about. But as far as craft, I am obsessed with watching everybody's work. I mean, this city is so ripe with talent. It's insane. And I just learn so much from just watching. And so, I mean, there's that. And, just doing. I went with my undergrad. It was a smaller program, but I would never give it up because of all the stage time it gave you. And I can't imagine surviving, this industry without that hands-on experience. So, I mean, that has been incredible. And then, oh man, what have I learned? Everything. I'm a little lost at the moment in my head. There are too many things. But community, I feel like, 2 technical things. Now I know what they mean, like, don't cry. It's like, hold back the tears, and I think we're so moved to tears. I think all of us are so emotional and can really tap in. And but now the more I watch, so that's what I was going to bring it to, the more I watch, I realize how much you lean in when you don't cry, or when you're trying not to cry, that type of thing. Timing with what works. Been noticing a lot, like, behind the eyes, everything that I've been watching. And isn't storefront theater incredible in that you're kind of on a movie set? Yeah. You cannot get away with anything, and it's the best of all worlds. And so I really enjoy people who are thinking the thoughts of the character, because you're so close, you can see it. So those types of things. I think I would love to have known genre better. I think I've known genre very much with my undergrad, but you come to Chicago and everything is so realistic. And I get kind of trapped in, I can't be too big, because, you know, I want to be grounded and psychological realism. So I think at this point in my life, I'm like, nope, it does not apply everywhere. And it's, you know, the more versatile you can be with high stakes, high drama, Shakespeare, comedy, farce, I mean, just lean into it and trust it. So I would say that's where I'm at this point.
It's funny you mentioned the thing about the behind the eyes concept, because a few months back, in the same episode actually as City of Lights Theater, it was a double episode with two community theaters. One was City of Lights Cabaret and the other one was Summer Place Theater. And Matt Whalen, who's the executive director of Summer Place Theater, do you know Matt? He said that when he was training to be an actor, one of the best pieces of advice he ever got, and I hadn't heard this until he said it, was if it's in your mind, it's on your face. And I was like, how have I never heard that before? It's so simple and so brilliant, and just the crux of what sort of, I don't want to say facial acting is, but it truly is. If you think you're going to have a hard time not showing it on your face. So I really, the minute you said that, I was like, oh, that's exactly what Matt Whalen said in some ways. Yeah. So to add to that, I'd like to ask guests who are actors and actresses, do you have any tips and tricks or tools of the trade that you like to lean on when you're developing a character? Or is it sometimes you can't get all the way into character until maybe you have a costume piece or a particular prop in hand? You
know, I've always sat inside myself and my own instincts first. And how would I react to this? How do I feel about this? And then I build from there. So I'm more of an inside out approach, but outside in is always helpful, and a director is so imperative. But I would say I've worked with so many incredible teachers that I was going to promote this later, but Lauren being one of them, Jeffrey Carlson, who I cannot say enough about, and who has sadly passed. Susan Hart, Matthew Ellenwood is just out of this world, if anybody can study with Matthew. So I'm constantly learning, constantly adding, constantly subtracting, constantly seeing what's working. So I think just knowing that you never have it done, and never, be comfortable. And there's always something better you can do, or a different angle and point of view is imperative. I mean, I think a lot of the notes can be solved from a director. If you just say to yourself, they need a stronger point of view. I need a stronger point of view here, versus give me more of this or that. It's just your point of view needs to come out stronger, I think, is what I would say.
Well, great. Thanks for sharing that. Lauren, did you want to add to that? I was directing it to Andy, but you're more than welcome to answer as well.
I mean, I would just say in general, and I think like it's innate in a lot of artists, is empathy, and just to really be able to put yourself inside the shoes of someone, that isn't you, and learn, about their life and their background and their emotions. I think that's very important. And then, Andy knows this, but I just heard Anthony Hopkins talking recently about, if you learn the text and it's all there in the text, then all you have to do is show up and really listen and react. And then everything will be new. And every way that you respond is new and it's fresh. Yeah. And then you're feeling something genuine and not something you've rehearsed over and over again.
It's a relief to hear someone like Anthony Hopkins actually say that, because, I know I've certainly been in situations where it is all there in the text, particularly for things like, I don't want to say musicals, they don't have great depth with character or with the script. But, sometimes a musical is kind of just, it's all there, face value on the page, and you kind of don't have to do a whole lot of deep diving into certain things, because oftentimes it's fictional characters anyway, right? So, you may want to do some psychological comparisons of similar archetypes, but what I gather out of being an actor is, if it is all there on the page, I kind of have to agree with Mr. Hopkins on that. If it's all there, you don't have to do too much more research or make up too much fake background for the person, because it's all there for you. You just have to bring it out and make it realistic.
Exactly.
I'm glad to know that Mr. Hopkins and I share the same philosophy. Tell us about some of the more influential people in your lives that may have helped you decide pursue the career path you've been on, or maybe even times when you weren't sure it was the right path for you, sort of steered you back in the direction of doing what your passions? Lauren, let's start with you.
Okay. Number one, my dad. And I know I started out with the Jigger story, and it went on to, I was able to direct him in 2 shows later on in life, which was the biggest gift in the world. I know, it was just, I mean, beyond special. And I also was able to direct a few of my children in shows too.
Ooh,
One of them with Jim Jarvis. I'm dropping the name Jim Jarvis here.
Yep.
But my dad was not allowed basically to pursue the arts, even though he can play like a concert pianist. He holds a world record for playing the most songs, as many hours without repeating a song. But back then, you were told to make a living. So he became a children's dentist and had a piano in his office and would play in between patients and this or that. But what inspired me is he's turning 90 this week.
Oh.
And recently he just did a concert for 250 people, standing ovation. And it makes me think, like, if you have art in you, if you have the love and passion for art, you can do it. You can do it your whole life. So he has like gently guided me and inspired me to pursue it in any possible way I can.
I love that story. And the world record holder, like Guinness Book of World Records?
Yes, except they changed the rules now, and I think they allow more time, either bathroom or there might be like a sleep time. But yes, this was years ago.
So how many hours did he go?
72.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And I love that he's 90 and he just did this concert and and he had a piano in his office. I mean, not only does it prove that you don't have to have art taken out of your life, but you can do it on your terms at any time if you want, even in your dentist office. If you're the one that runs the office, you're going to be playing that piano between patients.
Exactly. Wow. And then just, when you talk about like people that you looked up to, I mean, I saw John Malkovich at Steppenwolf and just fell in love. I saw True West and my life was changed. And then I remember seeing Jessica Lange and Francis, the movie, and Meryl Streep, and just like all the wonderful artists that I've looked up to and thought, oh my gosh, I want to do that one day.
John Malkovich was in True West?
Yes.
Who was his
brother?
It
was Gary Sinise.
Oh my God. I mean, forget about it.
Yeah.
Andy, how about you? Who are some of the influential people in your life?
Well, I'm sitting here wrestling with that in that I was never not going to do this. Yeah. And I think what's been the challenge for me is everybody telling me not to, right? So I think about the influential people that sort of, and so it's been a lot of rising above no's and rising above caution, the way your dad experienced. And so right now, the people that inspire me are, I mean, you realize how much you're saying no to yourself. It's not the world, and it's not the industry, and it's not Chicago, and it's not any avenue. I mean, because there's an avenue for everyone if you just keep at it. And so anybody that is saying yes to themselves absolutely inspires me. And I mean, I said no to I never said no to myself, but I was fearful throughout. It felt like family and stability or this career. And so I would say that my husband and my daughter inspire me the most right now, letting this both of best worlds can happen. And also anybody that creates a theater company like Lauren, anybody that, is making art despite all the odds. And, I'm really, I'm sure a lot of people know Mickey O'Sullivan. He's just, he's a film guy, and he's just doing the hustle. Anybody that is just making everything happen and making this a lifestyle is in my book, a hero. So
I agree. We had James Sherman, Chicago playwright, on a few weeks back, and he has a really great phrase for the word playwright. he said if you look at the way it's written, it's Playwright, which is an old Elizabethan word meaning to create something. He said there was like a wheelwright or a barrel right. So a playwright builds a play for other people to use. And I thought that was so intuitive, wonderful. And I will never forget that clearly because it made so much sense, and it's exactly sort of what you spoke to about the people who are creating things for others to do. Yeah.
Yes.
So Lauren, I want to ask about Four Chairs again. What kind of goals do you have for the future of the company? What are some of the mission statements of the company that you had in mind when you created it?
Oh, absolutely. So, one, I'm planning on hopefully increasing my seasons each year. I've been doing a lot of musicals. This is actually Four Places is the first drama that I'm doing. So I'm really excited about that. So I just want to increase more and more storytelling. And another thing that's important to me is to choose material that includes more people, especially like for this one, women who are not in their 20s. And more middle age and then older, just celebrating different kinds of characters. Yeah. In my mission statement is to pull up a chair, you can sit with us. I want everyone to feel, included and welcomed and have it be a safe, kind space where we can, create art. So I have a lot of, plays that I hope to get to do one day. One play at a time.
Yeah.
But lots of dreams.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing what's next. And sure. I do want to touch on Four Places, of course, because that's
Four Places. Yes, it's confusing.
Yeah. It's okay. What made you choose that play, and has it been produced elsewhere before?
It was produced first at Victory Gardens in 2008.
Okay.
And Sandy Shinner was the director, and Marianne Thebus was in it, Meg Falcon. And then there have been other productions continuing from there. But one of the main reasons I chose it, I was very, very close to the playwright, Joel Drake Johnson.
Okay.
And Joel, a lot of people might know the play Rashida Speaking. It was done in New York and London. But Joel is such a gifted playwright and someone that really inspired and influenced me. I met Joel at Stevenson High School. So he was a colleague and a friend, and I learned something every time I was in a room with that man. And sadly, he passed away in 2008. And I just feel, at first it was a dream to always direct a show he wrote, but secondly, now is my chance to keep his spirit and his words alive through his work. He's a playwright that is... oh my goodness, the way he writes, it's achingly real, the characters. And it's wickedly funny, and it's overwhelmingly cathartic. I think it's all of those. He taps into humans and what drives them and what makes them feel. And this show in particular just captures so much of that. So I couldn't wait. I could not wait to direct this show.
Top of your list of one of the things you wanted to produce when you started the company?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
And are there 4 people in it?
There are 4 people in it, and there are 4 places.
Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. And Joel doesn't shy away from tackling subjects that are difficult that we might not want to talk about. Yeah. I don't want to give away too much of the show, but it's about 2 adult children dealing with elderly parents, and they get a phone call from a caretaker that they might be in danger of each other. And the whole play takes place from the time that the daughter, who's always picked up mom every week for lunch, today the brother's joining. And it's 90 minutes of what happens from the time they pick mom up to the time they drop her off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it deals with a lot of, difficult questions like when should adult children step in and parent a parent? And when, as elderly parents, do we say, no, I don't need or want your help?
Yeah.
And then woven into that is a family that is touched by alcoholism also.
Wow.
So it's and it's funny. It's funny too.
Oh, okay.
Like it
Well,
sounds
that's a relief to know, because it's a lot of heady subjects.
That I think is a gift of Joel's, to kind of, create this subject matter that's so dark and so, heavy.
Yeah.
But then what do we do as humans? We're always looking for a laugh or humor or hope or love. Love runs throughout the show.
I can't wait to come see it. Yeah,
I
still have to figure out when
it
that
would
can
be
make
our
that happen.
honor to have you there.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, my
Yeah.
schedule gets busy this time of year, as I mentioned, but I'm going to try and we'll discuss offline. when that can
Wonderful. You're
happen.
welcome
Yeah.
anytime. We'd love
Thank
to
you.
have you.
Mhm.
Pull
So
up a
much.
chair. You can sit with us.
Oh,
There we go.
good use of your tagline. Love it. Could you both tell me a little bit about some of your favorite theater memories? Either it does, could be as an audience member or in shows you participated in. Andy, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Oh man, I think most recently I would say playing Martha in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf at Invictus Theater. I've just never been challenged being that up close to an audience with that raw of emotion and just all of that adrenaline going through you, and just how real and ugly you can be, but also how satisfying and just in that pressure cooker, it was a thrill.
Yeah,
so,
I bet.
Yeah.
How about you, Lauren?
Well, I'm going to mention something Andy and I worked on together, which was what the Constitution means to me. And the reason why that's one of my favorite memories now is it's very rare to be an artist and an activist at the same time. Like, we hope that we'll be able to work on a show that's, speaks to the times now and our world now. And I feel like that play just was so cathartic for everybody who worked on it. It was very powerful. Very powerful.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And that was at the Paramount, wasn't it? Was that part of
Yes.
the Bold series? Yeah.
Yes. And it was Andy played the understudy for the role that Heidi originally created.
And this is actually probably a really good segue. What important lessons have you learned by doing theater?
Me first.
Sure.
Andy first.
Lauren first.
I can go, and then you can have the last word if you want. I mean, to that point, how it can change, especially in this climate, change minds, change hearts, give you empathy. I mean, my goodness. And I really think that it takes a lot to show up, and theater is the ultimate way to show up. So, we are showing up for community, showing up for each other, showing up for the topics. And so it's so easy to be on our phones, so easy to sit in our house, but to actually show up for anybody in life and then to the theater, I think is extremely important.
Well said. I couldn't agree more. How about you, Lauren?
Well, and I would add to that, when I think about theater, and what's so exciting to me is, if you think about it, right, everyone comes to the theater and you're mostly all strangers. So you're brought into this room as strangers, not knowing anything about each other. And then somehow, through watching a play or hearing a story or hearing about someone else's life, there's some universal connection. And suddenly by the end of the show, you're connecting as humans. I mean, I've seen like strangers holding hands together, after a show, or, in the bathroom talking about, how it changed their life, or, crying on someone's shoulder. I think, to me, that's the biggest lesson, that if we open our eyes, we open our hearts, and just see theater and take it in and feel more. I think we all need to connect more, especially in this world today, connect more and have empathy and care more for each other as humans.
I'm going to drop Jim Jarvis's name again, because he had a very similar sentiment in his episode that will air, of course, a couple weeks from now. But people are just going to have to listen in to hear him echo that sentiment that you just expressed.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Tell us the dates of 4 places.
It's October 16th through November 2nd, and it runs Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings at 7:30 p.m. and Sundays matinee. And we have an understudy rehearsal also on Monday, October 27th.
Oh, fantastic. I love when theaters decide to do that.
Absolutely.
Understudies
they
are,
have a difficult
Yes.
difficult job of watching every single day and not getting a chance to really be in the shoes of the character until they're called upon.
Did you say that was on a Monday?
Yes.
That actually might be a really great option for me. So I will reach out to you about that, if that's okay.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. And then where can people get tickets for it?
They can go to fourchairstheater.org, and that's where the link is for the ticket site. Yeah.
And we're at the Barry the Barry Theater space at Bramble
Arts Loft in Andersonville.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for adding that as well. Anything else you both want to promote, or any parting words for our listeners?
Well, I'm doing a cabaret at Hey Nani, December 10th.
Great.
It's a Wednesday night, and the theme is You've Got a Friend.
Fantastic.
We're going to focus on friendship this time.
Directing the cabaret?
I'm directing the cabaret.
Okay. Are you ever in the cabarets?
I have not been in the cabaret, although I do contemplate sometimes, like, and I'd love to be on stage again. Maybe, who knows, if the right part came along.
Never say never.
Yeah, and I also do coaching. I do acting coaching for all ages and abilities. I feel like anybody could learn to act.
Great.
If they want to.
Where can people find you online to ask you about that?
fourchairstheater.org.
And Andy, what about you? Where can people find you online?
Oh, yes. I wish I had a website. Instagram, Andy Acts, and Facebook, just Andrea Uppling, Uppling.
Great.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I can't thank you both again for joining me on the podcast. This was a really fun conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. And I will let you know when I can come see Four Places. Be shortly after I hang up the phone with you today. I'll look at my calendar and get right back to you. Thanks for joining us at the Chicago Theater Makers Podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. The Chicago Theater Makers Podcast is a production of Spirit Art LLC, and our podcast theme music is by Paul Langford. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, please drop us a note at our website, ChiTheaterMakersPodcast.com. That's ChiTheater, makers with an S, podcast.com. We hope you enjoyed spending time with us as much as we enjoyed spending it with you, and we'll see you on the board soon.